too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out. 'Cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now. A little stronger now. You stole my heart of gold after my silver soul. Can you dig any deeper now? I gave you all I own, put you on this golden throne, but I'm a little stronger now. You cashed in on my promises. You know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out. 'Cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now. A little stronger now. You cashed in on my promises. You know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out. 'Cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now. A little stronger now. You stole my heart of gold after my silver soul. Can Can you dig any deeper now? I gave you all I own, put you on this golden throne, but I'm a little stronger now. You cashed in on my promises, you know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out, 'cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now, a little stronger now. Cashed in on my promises, you know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out, 'cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now, a little stronger now. It's so strong, so strong. It's so strong, so strong. It's so strong. You cashed in on my promises, you know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out, 'cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Aero&Auto podcast. I'm your host, Justin, joined by Michael, my co-host. How are you, Mike? Living the dream. You know, everyone's always living the dream, but yeah, this is the first Aero&Auto podcast. You excited? Yep. Yeah, so this is our podcast. We're going to try and do it every Wednesday. We'll tell you a little bit about who we are, what we do. I'm Justin. I will be the host of this, of the automotive side. I go to school right now for automotive technology. So again, we want to preface that we're both entry level. We want to do this with you all. We want to have an open conversation and have fun together. But yeah, I'm in school. I've been working as like a entry level general technician at an independent shop. I'm like their lube tech, general service, do tires and all that. Mike, why don't you tell us about your side of the story?
Mechanic. Right now, I don't have a job in the aviation industry. COVID kind of put a stop to any place that was hiring. So all my aviation experience and opinions come from school and the aircraft we work on school. So generally, general aviation aircraft. We have two smaller Learjets, and we do have an American Airlines Super 80 that we can get some heavier jet experience on, which is pretty nice.
Nice. Well, this wouldn't be a first time if there wasn't a mistake, and I'm pretty sure I was not recording half of that. So
Awesome.
I got the back half of it. I'll talk about the jets and stuff. But for those of you, well, everyone would have missed it. Mike is the Aero guy, and Mike is my co-host. I don't think I recorded that either. But he goes to Lewis University. You're
All right.
what's your major? What did you say it was again?
Yeah, I'm just trying to do the associates in aerospace maintenance technology.
Okay, cool. Well, we got that out of the way. Yeah, so we want to preface that we're entry level. We literally, I mean, we've got like personal experience working on cars and stuff. We worked on cars together and everything. But I mean, really at the heart of it, we're just tool junkies. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would say so. We're just kind of here to do it with you and learn and share our mistakes and really find out what tools you need and don't need, because boy, are there a lot of them, and their marketing departments are good. So you're going to be overwhelmed. I know I was.
Right.
So
Right.
we're just trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work, and how to get the best bang for the buck.
Yeah, so we'll guide you, try and help guide you along the way with tools and stuff. But on this podcast, we'll talk about just about everything. Whatever you guys want to hear, anyone can leave comments on what they want to hear. I'll listen. I'll read them. I'm sure Mike will too. But I mean, we can talk about anything in the industry. I think we already have planned for the next episode talking about the industry, both of them, just in general, and kind of what's going on right now in 2020. I'll tell you all where I'm at, but yeah, I mean, it's a lot to talk about. But yeah, we can talk about just about anything. I was just saying earlier, we could talk about the new Bronco and how Jeep is not going to recover from this, because Jeep makes some terrible cars, and I think the Bronco is blowing everyone out of the water. But that's not what we're talking about today.
Yeah, so I think we got to get started on the first tools you will need. For the audience, please keep in mind we're not sponsored. All the tools we have are paid out of pocket. So if you have any requests on tools you would like to see in the future, just let us know and we'll try to get our hands on them.
Right.
And
right. Exactly.
Check them out.
Yeah, so I mean, we wouldn't be entry-level techs if we didn't have entry-level tools.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll segue us into our first topic, like Mike said. We want to talk about the first tools for any guys that are trying to get into this, maybe are in it now but don't have a lot of tools. I mean, even for the older guys, just seeing what their opinions are. We've been in this for a while. But I mean, I think Mike can agree with me. The first thing everyone's going to need is a ratchet, right?
Oh, for sure. You always got to break the fasteners loose and get into those tight little spots. You know, in the aviation industry, you can almost tear a plane apart with a 1/4-inch ratchet and socket set. And if you're going in the aerospace industry, that is the first tool I think you should buy.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I would agree. I mean, I think every automotive guy out there has at least 5 ratchets in their box, if not more. I mean, that's the minimum, I would say. I mean, even if just like some guys have 10 3/8 drive ratchets, it's just, you got to decide what you want. And I mean, I guess while we're on the topic, let's look at a few different ratchets here. We're going to start with the Matcos. Transition into that. So, yeah, you got to decide what ratchets you like, what ratchets work for you. You can get them all. You can get one. It's all up to you guys. Mike, what are your thoughts on ratchets right now? Which one's your favorite?
Ooh, what my favorite one is, that's a tough one. I can tell you, for me, ergonomics of the ratchet are a big deal, you know, especially you're seeing a lot of these brands go over to these like comfort grips, soft grip, kind of like a synthetic material.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the brands just have such a large handle on their 1/4-inch and 3/8 ratchet.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to maneuver them into tight places, which kind of defeats the purpose of the low profile heads that they put on them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would say I don't have a specific brand that I like. I'll tell you what ratchets I got. I think I can name all of them off. I've got a gear wrench, got a couple of gear wrenches. I got a couple of I got a 3/8 and a 1/4 inch of the gear wrench. What are they? They're not the locking flex head, but they're like the click type flex head. I got one of them new Icon ones. Just the shorter ones. I have I've got two of them in 3/8. I got the round head one and the normal one. I got a 1/2 inch flex head in the Icon. 1/2 inch gear wrench, like the 17 inch. And then I got the Matco, I think it's a 15 inch 3/8 drive one. I think out of all of those, the one that I use the most is probably the Matco one. Not really because it's any better than all of them, just because I kind of like to use the Matco one because it's Matco. I don't have any Snap-on because I don't want to hate on Snap-on, but they're a little expensive when you're starting off, even with like the student discounts for all you guys in school. Try and get on top of that if you can. If you didn't know that, a lot of tool companies will offer discounts. But yeah, I use the Matco soft grip 15 inch 3/8 drive head, or yeah, 3/8 drive a ton. I just like it for the leverage that it's got on it. I'm not doing a ton of work with it right now, but I mean, if you're trying to get to like super tight oil filters, which I do a lot of because I'm their lube tech at work, that extra like leverage is great. But all my ratchets are good. I don't hate any of them. I had a few Pittsburghs that the teeth on them were just garbage. There's way too much slop in it, but for me, right now, I do like the Matco ones, and I think the runner up would probably be my 3/8 drive Icon. It's great. I don't have any issues with it.
Yeah, I think I could probably talk all day on why I don't like the Pittsburgh ones. Now, some guys just swear by them, and there's plenty of videos that show you how good the Pittsburgh ratchets are for the price you pay. But when I go to school, the first two ratchets I grab, the standard Snap-on 1/4 inch drive, which is great. It's short. I think it's about 5.5 inches. I can really get through access panels if I need to do like some sort of assembly and rigging. Try to get to some flight controls, because engineers really don't like to give you a whole lot of room.
No, engineers don't care about technicians.
Yeah, right. I guess it's not as bad in the aviation industry because they know stuff will break and that we have to inspect everything annually and every 100 hours and 50 hours. So they do make it a little easier for us to get. But the second ratchet I grab is my Snap-on 1/4 inch drive locking flex head ratchet. Now, the whole locking flex head ratchet, I think, is kind of this new up and coming fad, which, don't get me wrong, I really like it, because it's a 2-in-1 ratchet, and especially starting out, trying to pinch your pennies, you can get it at like 50% off with the student discount.
Right.
And since it's 2-in-1, you're really only paying like 25% because you have a standard rigid long-handled ratchet and a flex head ratchet.
Yeah.
That you can get more leverage on.
Well, I mean, let's look at the different ratchets real quick. So I just had the Matco pulled up. You were talking about the Snap-on. I pulled that up. We can talk price. Again, like we were saying, if you're a student, you can get a student discount on. I know Matco and Snap-on both offer them. Matco, I think, is way better student discount, but that's a totally different topic. We'll talk about that later. Hopefully, maybe next episode. Who knows?
Yeah, but if you're starting out, definitely do both of them, because what one doesn't offer, you'll probably find at a competitor.
Exactly.
And
if you can't get access to either of those, you can get some nice stuff from Harbor Freight and Gear Wrench. But again, back to what I was saying. I've got them all pulled up here. We got the 3/8 drive, 12 inch, 88 tooth locking flex chrome ratchet from Matco. Part number BFR128LF. If you're watching, you can see it on YouTube. I got it pulled up here. It's right here above the price, but it's $158.95. Now I don't have the 12-inch. I hear really good things about the 12-inch. I got the 15-inch one, but it's the same 3/8. It's the same head, same assembly. You've seen it, Mike. I've showed you the. I think you have one. Don't you have a Matco locking flex head?
I never bought the locking flex head, so I have a long Matco 3/8 drive and a long Matco 1/4 inch
Okay.
that I just got. It's really nice. Low profile head. It's by far the smallest profile out of any of the ratchets that I used.
Yeah.
Which we can talk about later. However, the only ratchets I have ever broken are Snap-on and Matco ratchets.
Yeah.
So, granted, I will take those for the heavy use and beat on them more because I expect more out of them.
Right. Yeah. I haven't broken any yet, so we'll knock on wood. But just for everyone watching, these are this is the description. You guys can pause and look at this specification, or you guys can just go on the website. But this is what you're looking at if you're looking to get a Matco. This is just like the baseline one. They've got soft grip in a bunch of different colors, I think. They've got the cool black ones with the soft grip. Which, on a little side note, my Matco dealer said, don't get the black ratchets, especially the 1/4 inch ones. He's like, because every panel on a car now is dark, and you set it down, he's like, you lose it. I was like, that's a good point, but that's a side note. They look sweet though. So.
Yeah, they definitely are a nice ratchet, and I think they're definitely worth the money.
Yeah.
If you're starting out, I don't think you need the soft grip handle.
No,
because you
totally a preference thing.
Yeah, because you can save like $10 a ratchet if you just get the standard steel, the chrome finish. If you want a little extra grip, I just wrap electrical tape around it. A, so I know which one's mine. B, so I can see it easier and quicker in poor lighting.
Right.
Because, like I said, those access panels are tiny, and it's sometimes hard to get a flashlight and proper lighting in there.
Right. Well, and I didn't mention either, the Matco ratchets are still USA made. To be honest, I think we'll talk about that in a little bit. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But the USA thing doesn't mean a ton anymore, in my opinion. But segueing into USA made, let's talk about the Snap-on, because Snap-on really likes to shove USA made down your throat. Would you agree, Michael?
Yeah, I think part of the whole thing about Snap-on is that's what our dads used. That's what our dads' used, because both of our dads are in technical fields. Justin's dad's got a degree in automotive. My dad is a mechanic for a major U.S. airline. So
my grandfather too was a auto mechanic his entire life. So
yeah, my grandfather is a retired electrician.
Yeah, so.
But tools were different back then when they started out, and quality meant something more.
Again, yeah, and I mean, we'll talk. I got a whole spiel about that coming up here in a second, but let's get back to the ratchets. So I've got the 3/8 drive, dual 80 technology, standard handle locking flex head ratchet from Snap-on. That's a mouthful. I don't know why they can't just say 3/8 drive ratchet locking flex head anymore, but they can't. It's like a few cents more expensive than the Matco. It's $159.50, and I think the $158.95. So not a huge difference. It's a little shorter. It's 11 3/8 inches. It's basically the same thing as the Matco we just looked at, and this is just proving the point of it's all preference. It's whatever you like. If you work in a shop with guys who have both, ask them if you can take a look at it. Ask them if you can use it for a job or two. Some guys won't let you. Some guys hate when other people use your tools, but just see if they'll let you before you buy something like that. I will
definitely try to shoot a video at school for me using the features of the Snap-on locking flex head.
Yeah.
And why it is superior and why it is not superior compared to the other locking ratchets.
Right. But yeah, I mean, bottom line is they're really similar in price. They're both made in the USA. It really just comes down to what you like, because they're two different ratchets, but they're both like the same ratchet. It's kind of hard to explain, but if you're looking, that's it. FX80A is the part number. And just for giggles, and I can't say bad words on this.
Isn't it hard as a mechanic?
I've got Harbor Freight and Gear Wrench pulled up here with similar ratchets. Now, if you can't get the student discounts right off the bat, and you're trying to save a little money, they've got the Pittsburgh 3/8 drive flex head. It's not locking. Neither is their Icon line. I also haven't been able to find any of the longer 3/8 flex heads in the Icon, because they like recalled a bunch of stuff when they first came out, and all they have is like the little one now, like the normal size non-locking. I don't know why. We're not going to talk about that. I don't really care. But if you're looking, it's right here, $26.99. It'll get the job done when you first start out. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it's not going to last you your entire career like some other tools will. It is a lifetime warranty, but it's just not worth warrantying once you break it. I would just take it back and get your money back and go buy a Snap-on or a Matco or a Mac when you get to that point. But then you have like the step up from that. It's like the intermediary between like the
middle of the market
right.
tool brands,
right? Like Tecton and Gear Wrench. But I got the Gear Wrench pulled up. We can talk about the other ones in a little bit, which we will.
I think what we forgot to mention in the difference between the Matco and the Snap-on is the Snap-on comes with a sealed head.
Right. Well, and the locking mechanism is totally different.
Oh, it's completely different. And like I said, there's pros and cons to the whole locking mechanism that I'll try to demonstrate in later videos and podcasts.
Right. And go ahead. Keep going.
The Matco head is just retained by a snap ring. So even though there is a gasket on the drive tang, appears to be there's a little more room for dirt, debris, and fluids to get into. And boy, you do not want Skydrawal going into your ratchet, because that stuff is nasty.
Yeah. I don't know what that is. What did you say? Skydrawal?
Yeah, it is a hydraulic fluid, really common in aircraft. It's phosphate ester based. Yeah, you want to try to contain that as much as possible, because it can cause damage to skin tissue, and so you don't really want that floating around the tools that you put your hands on all day.
Probably not. Well, let's not talk about skin-eating hydraulic fluid. Let's talk about these Gear Wrench ones here. So I've got the Gear Wrench set pulled up on Amazon. I think it's pre-order. I don't know. It's Gear Wrench's website, something like that. Don't mind my Prime membership warning either. I have to change that. But we've got you can get the new 90-tooth Gear Wrench 2-piece 1/4 inch and 3/8 drive, locking flex head. They look a lot like the Matcos. They're not. We'll talk about that. Kuhn Trucking has a really good video on that, but we'll talk about that at another point too. They're not the same ratchets. They look really similar. They operate really similar. But I mean, the big difference is that these are not USA made, and they're a lot cheaper. You can get the kit or the set with a 1/4 inch drive and 3/8 drive locking flex head for $69.99. It says here, which is like half of what you can get for both the Snap-on and the Matco. But in my opinion, I think you'll be able to tell the quality over time. I mean, Gear Wrench is great. I've got a lot of Gear Wrench stuff. But I mean, it's a whole can of worms that we'll talk about here. But we want to talk about more tools than just ratchets, because you're going to need a lot more than ratchets when you start off. So I mean, for me, I feel like
if you got a ratchet, you're gonna need some sockets,
right? And
otherwise, it won't do you any good.
Exactly. And again, sockets it's another like preference thing.
I think the starting point for automotive students and aero students is a little different. I guess I'll go first. So, like I said, quarter inch, you can tear it apart. What sets aviation and mil spec fasteners apart from all other fasteners an auto tech would encounter is that we come across a lot of 12-point fasteners, which you're beginning to see more on like GM and German built cars. But the 12-point fastener in the aviation industry has been very common for many, many decades. And a 12-point quarter inch standard socket set should be the first socket set, in my opinion, that an aviation student should get. Whether you're a pilot, because you can do some maintenance on your aircraft, or a mechanic, which we're trying to go for here.
Yeah. Well, like for me, obviously you get like a 3/8 drive 6-point set. It's probably what you'll use the most. I barely use any 1/2-inch drive stuff unless we're taking lug nuts off. And you can get flip sockets for that, or you can get like a lug nut set. A lot of times you don't need 1/2-inch sockets. I mean, some guys would say get the 1/2-inch drive sockets if you're doing like brake jobs, taking off like the caliper hangers and stuff. You don't need them. The 3/8 guns nowadays, if you have 3/8 guns, will take care of it.
They're torque monsters now.
Yeah, if you've got a 3/8 ratchet that's got a long enough handle, you can break most bolts loose on a car. If you're going into heavy duty right away, then maybe get a 1/2-inch drive set instead of a 1/4-inch set. But like for me, I would get, if I was trying to tell someone what to get, I would get a 1/4-inch set. You can do the 4 to whatever they go, 15. I don't think I've ever used a 4 in my entire life. I used like a 5.5 to do a blower motor on a Nissan the other day.
Yeah, I come across some hose clamps that are like 5.5 millimeter on cars. On airplanes, everything is fractional, which is nice because it saves us half the money. On socket sets.
I have SAE. I have fractional. I don't think I've ever used it on anything yet. But yet, when you work on the older stuff, one of the guys at our shop said, "I forgot how to use." He's like, "I forgot how to work on this 95 Chevy." He's like, "You need American tools," because he was taking the I think he was taking the distributor off, and he needed a 9/16. He had like a special distributor wrench or something. But yeah, getting into it, get metric 3/8 drives or 3/8 drive, 1/4-inch drive. Get the sets from, if you can get the big sets. Don't get anything that skips just because it's annoying and you never know when you need that stuff.
For sure. Going into aviation, I don't think I would buy a set that doesn't come with an 11/32 size.
Right.
Even though it's a really bizarre size, you will come across it and you will realize you don't have a socket that fits.
Right. Like Snap-on likes to skip a lot of stuff. It's not worth it. They just want you to buy the fill and stuff, I think. I don't know if that's true. I don't know what that conspiracy is. But like Matco, with the student discount, you can get a lot of like full, like their ADV line is really good. You can get a lot of that stuff. And I would get Impact too. I forgot to say that. Don't get chromes. Don't get anything chrome.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, starting out in the automotive industry, do you think those kids in Lube Tech should go for the beautiful chrome they have on the trucks?
No, don't buy anything chrome anymore. I think the you said beautiful chrome. I think that the used Impact sockets look really cool, where it's like the oxidized coating or whatever, the black oxide coating is start to like rub off. I think that looks really sweet, but that has nothing to do with buying tools. Actually, it might. You can get secondhand tools, but we'll talk about secondhand tools in a little bit. But yeah, get Impact 3/8 drive, 1/4-inch drive set. I was going to say too, besides sockets, I think I use, or besides ratchets and sockets, I think I use wrenches every day. When you're doing like oil filter plugs, you use a 13, 14, 15, and 17 on like everything. So get a nice metric wrench set. Some guys say get the ratcheting wrenches right off the bat because you're going to want them later. I don't think it matters. The ratcheting sets are nice. They're a little expensive, but I got a nice gear wrench set that works really well. You can get for wrenches, you can get Harbor Freight stuff for a while. Some guys say this Snap-on is like the greatest wrench ever made. I don't know how true that is. I've never used Snap-on, but the ones that I've been using have been good.
See,
So,
I have used the Snap-on wrenches at school because my school does supply a lot of the tools, which is nice because you don't have to lug a whole 5-drawer cart to school every day.
right.
But if you're starting out in the aviation industry, just get your basic, probably like 14-piece combination wrench set. If you're really dedicated to the aviation industry, which I know most of you are, because that aviation bug is definitely hard to cure. I think you will be better off going with a professional set, whether that is Matco, Snap-on. I personally use SK both on my daily driver and at school, and I really like my SK wrenches. I beat the crap out of them, and their chrome still looks great.
Yeah.
Another handy little thing is a double-sided open-end wrench set, which is nice for hydraulic lines and turnbuckles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're an entry level guy for auto, at least, you don't need all like the specialty. Like, you don't need line wrenches right off the bat, unless you're doing like a ton of brake bleeds. I mean, and you don't even need a line wrench to open a bleeder without stripping it. If you're stripping bleeders, then you probably shouldn't be working on brakes anyway. You can take a 10 mil socket and it'll do like the same thing. But I don't know how many calipers you're going to be changing. I don't know how many brake lines or power steering lines you're going to be doing right off the bat, but you don't need line wrenches. Same with like specialty sockets and bits, like e-torques and stuff. Unless you're working on Volkswagens every day, you don't need 12 points out right off the bat. You might need a torque set if you're checking like air boxes or something on Chevys. So a lot of the Chevy air boxes are held in by torques. They're not nice like Toyota and Honda and Mazda with the clips. I don't know why Chevy has to do that to you. But yeah, maybe a nice torque set to start off. But you don't need any like inverted torques sockets. You don't need any 12 points right off the bat. Maybe an Allen key. Yeah, I don't even think you need Allen sockets. But yeah, no, nothing crazy like that.
Yeah, I think they really try to get you with that those specialty socket sets, because I was looking at the tool list I was initially given on my first day, and there was a Torx bit set in there.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen, well, I shouldn't say I've ever seen, an entry-level AMT will not encounter a Torx fastener. I think I've seen one Torx fastener on the 787, kind of on the door hinge for the crew rest area. I believe that was the only Torx fastener. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe my memory's just going. But I think the 787 was the only plane I've ever seen a Torx fastener.
Yeah. Yeah, so ratchets, wrenches, sockets, you're going to need pliers. We can talk about pliers real quick. You don't have to get too deep into pliers because they're pliers. I have like these, I was telling Mike earlier, I've got these gear wrench hose pliers, the ones with like the curved head. I don't remember what they're called exactly. They were cheap. They suck. They're the quality, I mean, they work, but like the quality on them is garbage. So don't get like super cheap pliers, because a lot of times like the needle nose, like the faces won't meet, the tips won't meet, and they're offset, and then you can't grip anything, and you're wrecking stuff. Get a decent plier set. You don't need to spend $400 on a plier set. You can get some them Doyle ones from Harbor Freight are actually pretty good. I've used a few of those. Then yeah, just nothing crazy with pliers in my opinion. I don't know about you, Mike, but
yeah. So I've got a pretty large assortment of pliers, from Snap-on to Klein to channel locks. And I think starting out, a good pair of needle nose pliers, whether that's Snip-Hex, Snap-on, or Klein or whatever, will do you real good, especially trying to bend those cotter pins because
Yeah.
you don't want bolts coming loose on airplanes.
Right.
Another thing that sets the AMT kids apart is safety wire pliers, because there are a lot of options on the safety wiring.
Mm-hmm.
Now, will you definitely use them? Absolutely. Should you buy them right away? No,
Yeah.
because the FAA does not let you use safety wire pliers on your airframe practical. You have to safety wire by hand. So you best get in the habit of safety wiring by hand.
Gotcha.
Now, there's a couple different safety wire pliers that you can buy. They have the standard ones, they have the nylon insert ones, which is really nice because after you clip the end off the safety wire, and you can't get in a place to cup your hand to catch the FOD, the nylon inserts will usually catch it, which is good because you don't want little bits of wire flying around. Another pair of pliers that I highly recommend are duckbill pliers. Now, I bought a Snap-on one for school.
Hey, I don't see a lot of duckbills anymore. Like,
see, I love them for safety wiring. Because sometimes you just need two pliers to remove the slack, and they got a good bite to them. They're a good size. I think they're like 8 3/4. I like them enough that I bought a second pair just to keep in my home do-it-yourself garage.
Yeah.
I think I definitely got my money's out of them.
Yeah.
Money's worth out of them.
You're gonna need screwdrivers too. I think the same thing for pliers goes for screwdrivers. For me, at least, don't get a crap set. Spend a little bit of money on it. You don't gotta buy. Like I have a nice Matco set. It's great. It works great. Feels great. Handles are awesome. Do you need it right away? No. If you can afford it, go ahead and get it. If you can't, you don't need it. Get a cheap set. Don't get like a crappy Craftsman set. Like I hate all the new Craftsman screwdrivers. They'll work. I think the quality on them's bad. You don't want to you don't want to be stripping out like Phillips or half the time you use flatheads as pry bars, so at least get a nice set. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah, don't tell your tool truck guy you're using them as pry bars because they're not going to warranty them because they can be rude like that.
Some of them will. If your tool truck guy's nice, get to know him first.
But if you can't tear an airplane apart with a 1/4-inch ratchet, can certainly do it with a number 2 Phillips. At school, we use the Snap-on ones. I really like that ergonomic handle. I think a 6-piece set is like $55 with the student discount. They're nice. They have that hexed shank, so you can get a wrench on them. Because sometimes those engine cowlings can be kind of a pain in pretty much any other access panel or window, because the previous person will strip them out.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to lug 6 or 8 screwdrivers around in your tool bag, get a ratcheting screwdriver.
Yeah.
That is probably the best investment, and your most used tool as an AMT will be a ratcheting screwdriver.
Yeah. Well, I want to move things along here a little bit. We've dragged this topic out a little bit, but there's just a couple more tools I want to talk about. We won't go too in depth. Get a nice torque wrench for torquing lug nuts if you're in the auto industry. Get a nice oil filter wrench. You can get like the removal sockets too. They're real nice. And then I think, what do we have written down here? Mike's got some drill bits and like files and rivets that you'll need as an aero guy. You want to talk about that?
So going into the aero industry, if you're just starting out in school, you're going to be working on your airframe license first. and part of that is sheet metal work and patches and bucking rivets. So, what will you need? Well, you're going to need a rivet bucking bar, right? But first, you have to drill the holes for the rivets. So you're going to need some drill bits. I don't really recommend buying a, like 12 or 14 piece rivet set drill bit set, because the sizes you're going to need are going to be like 3/32, 1/8,
Right.
3/16, quarter inch. So if you can find bulk packs of the smaller sizes, you're going to definitely use them more. Plus, all the rivet sizes are standard, so you don't need like a bunch of in-between sizes.
Yeah.
If you're going to be riveting 3/16 and quarter inch rivets, just get those drill bit sizes. I probably have, 10 3/16 drill bits just laying in my tool bag. Definitely get a deburring tool. Some people call them reamers. I like to call them deburring tools. Just to remove burrs so you can get a clean fit between two pieces of sheet metal.
Yeah.
Because when you go to rivet them, any burrs will create gaps and look sloppy, and creates an area for moisture and corrosion to occur. I believe the brand is called Shaviv. They're made in Israel. It's a really nice deburring set. I use them all the time. But yeah, that's definitely a big thing.
Yeah, you don't want any burrs because they'll cut you and you'll bleed like a stuck pig.
Yeah, and they'll mess any of your measurements up, which just will create headache and a bunch more work for you.
Yep. Yeah, so, I mean, I think that's a pretty good baseline for any of you guys looking to know what to buy, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You can always get more, you can always get less. Depends on what you're working on. Like I was saying earlier, like for the 1/2-inch sockets, if you're a like a heavy duty tech, you're gonna need a way different like tool set. If you're working on I guess trains would be a heavy duty guy too, but you know what I mean. It all depends on what you're working on. If you're working on Harleys, you're probably not gonna need as many big 1/2-inch sockets. There's no need for you to have an 1.5-inch socket unless Harleys have like ridiculous hub nuts. I have no idea. I know nothing about motorcycles.
Yeah, same. If you're going to aviation, definitely do not buy a torque wrench. Torque wrenches need to be calibrated and will be supplied to you from a tool room.
Yeah.
So that's one thing don't need to worry about. And frankly, I'm not too mad about it because it saves me about $1,000. I definitely recommend getting a good set of files. I think I have the Nicholson files. They're not super expensive.
They're true. Gotta love Nicholson.
Yeah. I mean, you can buy them at Farm and Fleet, Big R, Amazon.
You can buy them anywhere. You could probably find them in junkyards. I mean, Nicholson's been around, I think, since like the 1800s.
Yeah, I mean, you can find them in secondhand stores. One last thing you should probably get are aviation snips. Weiss has been, the standard aviation snip brand. I think they're owned by Crescent or made by Crescent. I got mine at Menards, the Midwest brand. They're really nice. They cut clean. Definitely cut through aluminum sheet metal up to 80 thousandths of an inch, no problem.
Wow.
Just definitely get a good set of snips because it'll make your work cleaner, quicker, more efficient, and less bending. It will just cut straight through instead of kind of like shearing,
Right. Well, talking about cutting, actually, I don't know where I was going to go with that. You're going to need tools is basically what we're trying to say. And a lot of guys, they like Snap-on, right, Mike? A lot of guys like Snap-on.
Oh, man.
Well,
it is a cult following, and I'm sorry if I offended you, but you're part of a cult. Sorry, bro.
Yeah. You don't need Snap-on, and that's what we're going to talk about real quick. Probably a lot longer than real quick. We're going to talk about brand loyalty, because you're going to want brands when you buy your tools. And guess what? I think brand loyalty is garbage.
It is such a moneymaker on the tool company, and it's really just screwing the younger guys out,
Right.
because
Well, and let me tell you something here a second. I got a little story. So I was talking to this guy that I work with, right? Actually, I was talking to my grandpa. This is how this whole thing started. I was talking to my grandpa. I was talking about Taiwan tools. I was telling him that overseas tools have really been good. I mean, they don't have a USA stamp on them. That doesn't make them garbage. What makes them garbage is the quality control that is overseeing them. Like your iPhones are all made in China or whatever. Yeah, China, Taiwan, I think. But the reason they end up so nice is because Apple has really good quality control. Same thing with tools. If your tools are coming from a good quality company overseas, it doesn't matter. Most of the steel industry in the United States was shipped overseas for a reason. They didn't ship it overseas, and then the overseas companies were like, well, we're just going to not make steel how steel has always been made. Steel's pretty good overseas. I mean, unless you're paying like nothing for tools, it's probably, if you're paying crap for tools, then you're probably going to get crappy garbage stuff. But I mean, any decent priced like overseas stuff, like all the gear and stuff and most of the Matco stuff is overseas, I believe, and it's all good. But yeah, so I was telling my grandpa about that. Like, well, he's like, I don't know. He's like, the impact sockets. It's like, you got to get nice USA made impact sockets. I was like, oh. He's like, yeah, it's just, you got to get the nice steel in the impact sockets. So I just agreed with him and went on with my day. And then I was talking to one of the guys at work, and I was telling him what my grandpa said. He's like, yeah. He said, it has nothing to do with the impact sockets being made in the USA. He's like, your grandpa just knows the impact sockets from Snap-on because he worked in the industry when Snap-on owned the patent for flank drive. Flank drive is the 6-point flank drive that everybody uses now because Snap-on's patent ran out. When you use 12-point impact sockets, you just strip bolts, or nuts. You strip nuts like crazy. So
rounding them off.
Right. That's what everyone uses. Snap-on owned the patent for, I think, like every tool ever. And that's why everyone owned Snap-on tools, because they were the ones that worked, because Snap-on had the patents for everything. Well, Snap-on's patents run out. Everyone else started making the tools, and they're good. It's called capitalism. I mean, like we're going to make a good tool for cheaper so that you buy ours, right? You're going to capitalize on the fact that Snap-on tools are outrageously priced and you don't need to pay that much.
Yeah, definitely don't just buy everything from one brand, because some brands make really crappy tools, while other tools they manufacture are great. They will definitely try to get you on the brand loyalty bandwagon with all the student financing and student discounts. My biggest advice there is just buy your tools outright. Why go in debt? Your tools are supposed to make you money, not cost you money.
Right.
And
right.
Snap-on and Matco aren't all that great. Even if you peek into a garage or a tool crib, everyone's got, Snap-on, Matco. There's plenty of other options that are just as good, if not better, will have the same function that the Snap-on and other tool truck brands have.
Right. Yeah, I think brand loyalty is garbage. I don't think that you need to just buy all Snap-on. This is really just me bagging on Snap-on, and my voice just cracked. Sorry, guys. And I told you that this would just turn into me bagging on Snap-on. So we're going to talk about other brands that you can buy instead of Snap-on. And I think the big one for me that I think this is actually a brand I've been using for a little while now, when I was not in the automotive industry, and that's Klein. Klein makes some really good pliers. They don't make a lot of tools that will transfer over to like the automotive industry, but they make a really good set of dikes or wire cutters, whatever you want to call them. They make a really nice set of lineman's pliers. I know a lot of guys don't use lineman's pliers in the auto industry, but I think the Klein ones are fantastic. They know they make needle nose. I haven't used their needle nose, and they make screwdrivers, and they got a nice screwdriver that I use. And I believe all of their tools are USA made.
Yeah, I believe all their hand tools are.
Yeah.
For me, I really like the SK brand. Probably 5 years ago, my dad got me a set of metric wrenches for the garage, and I just kind of picked up some here and there, and they're phenomenal tools. I have some of their sockets. I think they're just as good as Flank Drive or OptiTorque.
Yeah.
Or whatever Mac offers.
Yeah.
They claim to be made with U.S. steel too. I don't know if they are,
Right.
if it can even be proved.
Right.
But I think they're a phenomenal tool brand. It's kind of slept on. It's kind of like kept under the rug just because they don't have, the trucks going around nearly as much as all the other recognizable brands do.
Yeah.
But I've definitely picked up some of their tools here and there.
Yeah.
And they are worth the money. They're a little cheaper than the big three.
Yeah.
And
well, we've got a few others written down here. I'm just gonna start reading them off. We talked about Klein. Mike said SK. Mayhew makes some USA made pry bars. I think they're striking pry bars too. So that's exactly what everyone uses. They're really reasonably priced. I think they're like $60 for a set. I think if you get a set of pry bars of like 4 on the Snap-on truck, it's like $400. It's like some astronomical amount. Same with Matco. I think they're pretty pricey on the Matco truck, like maybe $250, $300. Mayhew, I think they got a $60 set on Amazon. I have East Wing. Go ahead.
Mayhew also makes some awesome punches, which you will need as an AMT. It can help you line up bolts, can kind of like pop rivets out once you drill through them. Definitely get a good set of rigid punches.
Yeah, like Mayhew's another one like Klein, where it's not specific to the auto industry, but they're specific to the tools that they make, and they make them good, and they're decently priced. I have East Wing written down. I really like East Wing hammers. I've been using them since I worked for a private contractor for a little while out of high school. I've got 2 or 3 East Wing hammers at home. They're great. I like their sledges. Use sledges all the time when you're trying to like break rotors away from the hubs because they're rusty.
Yeah, they make some nice dead blow hammers too, and I believe East Wing's dead blow hammers have a lifetime warranty, which no longer exists on the Snap-on dead blows.
Yeah.
I've been informed that their Snap-on's dead blow hammers only come with a 1-year warranty now.
Interesting.
But
I didn't know
that's not something I use a whole lot in the aviation field.
Yeah. Well, that was the first thing I think I was ever taught when I started working with my hands is something doesn't want to go, you just hit it with a hammer. Doesn't matter what it is. If something's not working, you just smack it till it works. So
don't do that on aluminum, guys.
Yeah. Get yourself a nice hammer. East Wing's a good thing, or a good brand. I got a Husky down. Home Depot brand, obviously. Everyone should know that. I'm sure Husky is in like every garage in America. I don't think they're bad. They're bad tools, to be honest.
No, not at all. I really like their larger wrenches because, I mean, once you get past kind of like 1 inch, in my opinion, you don't really need to shell out big bucks for the larger wrenches because there's so much steel on them. They're not really going to break. So if you need a 1 1/4 inch wrench, buy yourself lunch, get the $12 Husky wrench, and you'll still have money left over compared to
I think if you buy
an 1
1.25 inch wrench off the Snap-on truck, it's like $80, $90.
Yeah, it's an absurd amount.
Yeah.
And for what,
to use it 4 times, 5 times.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not a heavy duty guy. I have 0 heavy duty experience, but I mean, an 1.5 inch wrench is an 1.5 inch wrench.
Right. I know. And I'm sure you'd get heavy duty guys that are like, yeah, well, Snap-on's amazing because it's Snap-on and I've never broken a Snap-on. Like, well, have you owned anything besides a Snap-on?
I mean, I've never broken any Master Force wrenches from Menards either. I don't think I've broken any wrenches. Period.
Right, I know. And you'll always get the Snap-on cult following guys, but that's besides the point. We're talking about Husky tools. We're also going to talk about Tekton tools. I like Tekton. You can buy them at Meyer. You can buy them on Amazon. You can get them a lot of places, actually. I think
I really like the fact.
R.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry, I cut you off there. I really like the fact that Meyer sells them because they are open 24 hours a day. So whether you're working night shift, day shift, afternoons, or you're just screwed and up at 2 a.m. trying to get your daily driver fixed, you can find some really decent tools at Meyer's 24 hours a day.
Yeah, they usually have a pretty nice selection too.
Yeah, usually it's well stocked.
Meyer. What else? Oh, I wrote down Wera. I don't know if that's how you say it. I don't know how to spell it. Sorry. That's the German brand that I think is growing pretty fast in the United States. You were saying they've got nice insulated screwdrivers.
Yeah, I really like their insulated screwdrivers. I used a couple from my retired electrician grandpa. Yeah. They're really nice. I highly recommend them if you're using brass screws, just because it seems like the tips on the Wera are a little softer steel, and brass can strip out really easy.
Yeah.
So that's where I use them. Or if I gotta work on like any, like gyroscopes or avionics, you don't want to short anything out. This is a great way to avoid it. Yeah. No one can accuse you of using the wrong tool for the job.
Right. I see them a lot on Instagram. Actually, I'm gonna pull them up here real quick.
Yeah, they look really nice. They're
online.
Probably your just standard red and yellow insulated pliers. There's a bunch of ripoffs on the market. I like the Wera ones. They're insulated up to 1,000 volts.
I don't know.
Keeps you safe.
I don't know what their website is. I'm gonna just pull up a picture here. Actually, we'll pull up an Amazon thing. But they've got this like pretty iconic handle, or I don't know if I'd call it iconic, but they've got this
well recognized.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Let's pull this up. People on YouTube. This is Wera. I know they make ratchets. They make a lot of tools. I don't know what their socket sets look like. I think I don't know what it is. I don't want to say anything, but or I don't want to say the wrong thing, but there's a website that sells them where has like a couple of other brands like tied to it. You might be able to buy nip packs on that website, but it's all a bunch of German-made tools. I don't know if I mentioned that yet, but Wera is a German brand. They're made in Germany, just like nip packs. Everyone loves nip packs. Everyone knows German-made stuff is usually pretty good, unless it's a Volkswagen. I don't even know if Volkswagens are made in Germany. I just hate them so much.
I've had a 6-piece set sitting in my Amazon cart for quite a while.
Yeah.
And I want to pull the trigger, but
Right. But yeah,
things are tight.
That's Wera for anybody who was wondering.
Yeah, definitely a high quality tool for sure.
Germans are good at a lot of things. Over engineering cars is one of them. Tools, they're really good at tools. They're really good at making Formula 1 cars. So yeah, don't discount the Germans or the Japanese. There's another brand actually I think that I should have put on here. It's really little. I see them online a lot though. It's the Vampire Players or whatever, or Vamplayers. They're Japanese made, but anything you get from Japan is fantastic in my opinion. The Japanese just spend so much time in like quality and like perfection. You can't go wrong with anything from Japan, but I think they're called Vampire Players. So someone can correct me in the comments. But that's just what I'm going to call them. I think they're Vampire Players. Speaking of players, we have Channel Lock on here. I think everyone's heard of Channel Lock. I think everybody dad owns a Channel Lock. If they don't own a Channel Lock already, they're great. I'm pretty sure Channel Lock's all still USA made too, and it's pretty relatively decent, or relatively nice pricing. Can't talk for some reason. But yeah, channel lock's great.
Yeah, every place sells them. Walmart sells them.
Yeah.
They have a lifetime warranty, so you could warranty them everywhere.
Yeah, I think everyone sells. You can get them at Home Depot, Lowe's. I've seen them at Menards. Walmart. Meyer might even have a couple of channel lock things. I don't know if they have a huge selection of channel lock, but and then power tools I have down here for Ingersoll Rand. I don't ever, like, if you watch YouTube videos, you watch a lot of guys do like toolbox tours and stuff. I don't see a lot of Ingersoll Rand stuff, unless it's like little, like, disc lock die grinder, like little, like burr tools, like little tiny air tools. I don't see a lot of the big Ingersoll Rand guns anymore. Like, forget what the big one is. There's everyone knows the part number to it. My grandpa gave me one. I use it at work all the time. It like weighs 100 pounds, but it's fantastic and it'll last forever. But I mean, even their little, like their lighter, newer, like polymer air tools are really nice. They make power tools, I think. No, they do. Not I think. I've never seen any, but from what I hear, they're really nice. They can't be any more expensive than Snap-on. If you buy Snap-on power tools, I think you're insane. I'm sure they're great. I don't know why you would spend that much money when Milwaukee will literally do the same thing.
Yeah, there's definitely higher performance electrical power tools.
Right. I'm sure I just chapped a lot of people's asses, but sorry guys. Like Snap-on power tools are way, like, they're not worth it. Sorry, but
yeah, but Ingersoll for sure.
Yeah,
makes a nice pneumatic tool line.
Mm-hmm. I think Snap-on can warranty your Ingersoll. I think most of your truck guys will warranty your Ingersoll stuff.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
I think don't quote me on that, but I'm like 75% sure.
Yeah, as an AMT, I don't really use a whole lot of pneumatic tools other than like an air drill.
Well, and pneumatic tools are dying, from what I can see.
I don't think they'll die just because they're phenomenal and they run off air, and you can use them in places where you can't use electrical appliances.
Right.
If you are looking for any pneumatic tools, check out Aircraft Tool Supply. Even if you're in the auto industry, they do have a phenomenal selection of specialty tools. Yeah.
So,
but save your money on the pneumatic tools right now. Yeah. You don't need those.
Yeah. So those are some brands we would say check out. A lot of the stuff that we mentioned, I've used. I can stand behind. They make good stuff. Yeah.
And we will definitely show you using the products we talked about, because words don't mean anything nowadays. Actions everything. So we'll show you using the stuff.
Right. I'm sure we'll put some videos on the channel. But this is a podcast, so we're not going to show you any videos right now, which is okay. What are we at? We've been talking for about an hour. I think we got one more topic we want to talk about. Mike, you want to take a break real quick? Maybe 5 minutes?
Yeah, sure.
All right, everyone, we'll be back in about 5 minutes. Enjoy this nice music. Go get a beer. Go get a sandwich. We'll see you in a few.
Kiss your girlfriend.
You stole my heart of gold after my silver soul. Can you dig any deeper now? I gave you all I own, put you on this golden throne, but I'm a little stronger now. You cashed in on my promises, you know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out. never help you out. 'Cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now. A little stronger now. You stole my heart of gold after my silver soul. Can you dig any deeper now? I gave you all I own, put you on this golden throne, but I'm a little stronger now. You cashed in on my promises. You know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out.
Okay, and we are back. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you got your beer. Hope you got your sandwich. Maybe you took a dookie, rocked a pisser. I don't know. Whatever you want to do.
Did all four if
Yeah.
you're extremely talented.
Yeah, maybe. Mike, what are we going to talk about here?
Well, I mean, we talked about a lot of tools. I think we should talk about where we're going to put all our tools.
It's a good idea. Yeah, we're going to rant about tool storage for some time. I don't know how much time, but I could go on forever. You want to start, Mike? I think you have a pretty solid opinion of what you want in a toolbox, what you need in a toolbox, too.
Okay, so here's the thing about hangars and airplanes. They are large. You will not be working in one place all the time. You are going to be dragging your tools maybe even a quarter mile across the ramp to get to an airplane. So I think if you're looking at a tool storage option, you should definitely look at a box or a cart with solid casters, like high quality casters where they're greasable. They have a large tire to get over bumps through any inclement weather, because you will be working outside in all types of climates. Right now, I'm in the market for something between like 40 and 55 inches. That seems to be the sweet spot. Personally, I'm a fan of the stainless steel top on toolboxes just because it gives a nice, smooth, clean surface to work on. Shouldn't have to worry about scratching any parts. Definitely stay away from the bed liner, because you don't want to be rubbing any primer or alclad off aluminum. With the bed liner, what's the word I'm looking for? Work
what?
surface.
Oh, work surface?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But starting out, you don't need a $2,000 toolbox.
No.
What I really like using, and like again, it's one of those newer fads, is the tool storage backpack. Klein, Milwaukee, I think Harbor Freight now has an option, the most economical option, and the one I probably will end up getting within a couple of months is the Walmart one. I believe it's the Hart brand, which is around $45. It has plenty of room. I can move easily with it. I can go up on ladders and lifts with all the tools I need on my back. It makes it really easy.
Which one is it? I'm going to pull it up here.
I believe it is Heart Brand, which is a Walmart exclusive brand,
Walmart.
but it seems to be the most economical price. And I'm a huge fan of tool bags, especially when you're going from lecture to lab and working in a hangar and traveling in your car. It's really convenient.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see it, but I have one of the Klein ones pulled up here. There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, they look really nice. Those Klein ones are nice. They are a little pricey, and frankly, I think don't really need something that fancy just for school. Now,
Yeah.
if you have a part-time job or
Right. We'll
just
see.
get in the field,
Like this makes sense for electricians going from job site to job site. They also don't need as many tools as what we do, what I do. You need a lot of tools when you're an auto guy. But
yeah. But
yeah,
mobility is the biggest thing.
Oh, here's the
I
Milwaukee
think.
one.
Yeah, the Milwaukee one is nice. It looks sharp.
The Pack Out is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't want to invest in a backpack, I picked up a couple tool bags at Harbor Freight. I think it cost me like $12 each.
Yeah, I didn't.
And they're pretty durable.
I didn't know they made those.
You can probably put 40 pounds of tools in each one, you know?
Yeah. Well, I have a little bit of a different view on tool storage. And I don't know if it's a sought after view, I don't know what the word is, a widely accepted view. I had a tech once tell me two things. Said, a toolbox never made you $1 in your life. You can store all of your tools in Tupperware. And you'll still make the same amount of money. And I thought, that's a really good point. And the guy who told me this has a $16,000 Snap-on box with a hutch and 2 side cabinets and a top cabinet. He's like, I'll never make that money back, like trying to sell this. He's like, I might make some money back selling my tools, like, but I'll never make that money back on the toolbox. He's like, it put me in debt, like, and it's never made me $1 in my life. He's like, I bought a Snap-on roll cart, because we work out of roll carts at work. And this guy works with me currently. He said I had a Snap-on roll cart. He's like, I sold that. I got this U.S. General. It's one of the older U.S. General ones. It's got the old school logo. Or I don't know about old school, but it's not the new logo. It's the little like square box. And he's like, this thing has been great. He's like, there's nothing wrong with this thing. And it was like, what, they're $200, the 5-drawer?
Yeah, I think with the coupon, they knock them down to $200 plus tax.
Yeah, so it's like, if you want to go U.S. General, and you're not like worried about drawer slides failing on you, because I mean, I'm sure the U.S. General drawer slides will go out, but I'm sure you can buy the drawer slides at Home Depot, and they're not very expensive.
Yeah, I know that's what you use, Justin. I have one sitting in my garage.
Yeah, we both have the U.S. General 5-drawer cart.
Yeah.
I really like mine. I mean, but even for bigger like tool storage, I don't think you need anything crazy expensive. A lot of it, again, is brand loyalty. Like, I have to have a Snap-on toolbox. I have to have a Matco Revel X. I have to have a Matco whatever, because, they're USA made, cold rolled.
They are beautiful boxes, you know?
Yeah. I don't think the U.S. General ones look too bad either. The new Icon ones, they're pricey, but they're not like $16,000 pricey.
Yeah, they are nice.
Or $25,000
I guess that's one
pricey.
benefit of you guys. You get to keep your toolbox in one spot all the time.
Right.
You know?
Right. If we're going to work out anything, it's going to be a roll cart.
Yeah.
And if you're working at like a dealer or something, a lot of times you work out of like a bay and you don't use a rolled cart because your toolbox is behind you. So it all depends. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think if you're working in the auto industry, I would probably go with the Cobalt
Right, yeah, like
storage options, because I was checking
ones
them
are
out.
nice too.
Yeah, those are nice. I like the Cobalt ones. I thought they seemed a little heavier duty.
Yeah, the Craftsman ones suck. I mean, Craftsman just sucks in general.
Yeah, they're not what they used to be, which really pains me to say that, because I grew up on Craftsman. I think most American kids have.
That's all my dad had in his toolbox. That's all he still has is in his toolbox is Craftsman. I think he's got a Mac 10 millimeter and a Snap-on 10 millimeter. Everything else is USA Craftsman. Besides, he's got like a Husky kit that he hauls around with him if he's got to go up to the lake cottage or something. But yeah, his tools have been Craftsman since he bought them, since they were USA made, and whatever, how many years ago that was when they stopped doing that. But yeah, no, I would agree. It's kind of paining to know that Craftsman is not what they used to be, because I'd like to go out and buy some nice Craftsman tools, but
Yeah, I mean, my dad
can't.
has a professional series Craftsman screwdriver set that he uses at work, and they are really nice.
Right.
You know, they are at the same quality as my Snap-on screwdrivers, which I'm a big fan of.
Yeah.
For me, I think they're probably the most ergonomic fit.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Craftsman, I mean, the toolboxes aren't the greatest. If you're going to buy one for your house, sure, they're fine. I mean, you're going to use it, what, every couple thousand miles when you got to do an oil change, a brake job. But yeah, if you're like working professionally out of a Craftsman toolbox, I might consider going up a little bit more in quality.
It's really the weight of the drawer,
Yeah.
you know, because those impact sockets get heavy.
Right. Well, I feel like if I dropped the hammer and I got that one, you've seen it. It's the like that cheap top box Craftsman thing.
Oh yeah, I mean,
from Lowe's.
actually, those are really nice. And if you're
I mean, it's not bad, but I feel
aviation,
like if I dropped a hammer in it, it'd punch right through that tin or whatever it is. It's sheet metal, it's steel, but it feels.
Don't let Justin turn you off to those, because if your school does have like a tool crib or a locker, those are really nice. You can fit most of the tools you'll be needing at school.
Yeah, I mean, but don't work professionally out of one of those. You can, but I wouldn't.
And you can always find them used on like Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, that's true. I'll sell mine. Just kidding. I use it. I kind of like it for home. Yeah,
they are nice. Yeah, definitely don't feel pressured on buying all your tools brand new, because I've got some killer deals on Facebook Marketplace or secondhand stores.
Right.
Sometimes you're lucky and you can find a secondhand store that only does tools.
Yeah.
But that's definitely an avenue to examine.
Yeah. So, tool storage, I mean, getting back to what we were talking about, I don't think it's worth. I mean, I'd love to go and spend $32,000 on a Snap-on Super Epic 70 million inch quad cabinet top drawer golden lined hutch, but like why? I mean, what does that provide me with?
I mean, we got some KRL series. I think those are supposed to be like the master series at school. They're nice. They're definitely well built tool storage options.
I know.
Now,
I'm gonna have to convince myself that Snap-on really isn't a bad brand, because they're not. But like in my head, it's like, come on, guys! Like, you could be doing this way better.
I think what really hurts is the money they charge compared to the quality of the item you get.
Right.
You still get a really high quality item, but you just expect everything you wanted.
Right.
And could possibly hope for out of one object.
Yeah. That's kind of like Apple, where like Apple will charge you $1,500 for a phone that you're going to trade in 2 years. It's like, I mean, it's just because it's Apple. Same thing with Snap-on. Like, why do guys do it? Because it's Snap-on. Because they can. Because they want to. Because Snap-on's cool. I'll admit that. Snap-on's sweet. I like a lot of, like, it's just cool. Like, if I had all Snap-on tools, I'd feel like a pretty cool guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You
feel like,
it's nice to have,
like money bags, professional. Tools. I got Snap-on everything.
But your tools don't stay flashy. They'll get dirty real quick if you're using them right.
I know, and that's the thing. I used to be real like bad about was like, oh, my tools have to be so clean. But I mean, once I started working with tools, like once I started using them, I'm like, nah, dude, like if my tools are beat up, it looks like I'm working. And like beat up, I think like patina tools are kind of cool.
They are. They have a story behind them, you know?
Mhm. I think I mentioned a little while ago. I think the used impact sockets where the black is coming off, I think those are the coolest looking things in the world. Like if you can buy secondhand like impact sockets, dude, totally do it because they look sweet. Only for that reason, not because they're probably cheaper. That has nothing to do with it. It's the cool factor. But yeah, do you have anything else to add on tool storage? I think I've spoken my piece. I mean, my point's pretty clear, is that you don't need to spend a lot of money on tool storage. Like I said, I think you have a different view of tool storage just because you have different needs or will have different needs in the future working on a tarmac, or what do they call them? Runways, tarmacs.
Yeah, ramps.
Taxiways, ramps, yeah. Hangars.
Yeah, but then there's a lot of AMTs who just work at an engine shop their entire career, or just make wire bundles.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And so like you really have to look at A, what you can afford, B, what you're willing to spend.
Yeah.
And your needs, you know?
Right. Well, we've been blabbering for about for about an hour and 20 minutes. Why don't we talk about what we're gonna talk about next week?
Next week,
Wednesday, will be episode 2, just so everyone knows. I think we wanted to talk about the industry.
Yeah.
If you're,
we'll be examining the COVID crisis on the aviation.
I think just a technician in 2020 in general. Across
the pros and cons of it.
Across all fields. I think that's a pretty big topic. We'll spend a decent amount of time on that. I'm sure I know I have a bunch of opinions on it. I'm sure you have plenty of opinions. I'll try and pull up some statistics too, because I know the airline industry is taking a big toll.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that tonight. But, let's leave our viewers happy and optimistic.
Yeah, I know. We're going to talk about tools maybe you should stay away from. We talk about tools you should get right off the bat, right away. We're going to talk about things you should maybe stay away from.
Yeah, and I definitely have some strong opinions.
Yeah, I think everyone. Yeah, I think everyone does.
And we will also be examining the specialty tools that you should pick up, such as pickup tools and lighting.
Oh, lighting. Man, you could spend a long time talking about lighting. I don't know why, but lighting, if you're not working in a well-lit area, you're not really working that hard.
Yeah, right.
That sounded really nerdy, but it's true. Get yourself a nice flashlight. We'll talk about what flashlights we like next episode. And I'm sure we'll talk about a few more things, but you'll have to stick around to see those. Again, my name's Justin. I'm your host. I was joined by Michael, our co-host. Host, whatever you want to call him. He's kind of like our co-host, but he spends a lot of time here. We're gonna try and be here every Wednesday, probably around 7 o'clock, just like today. We're gonna talk about everything about the automotive, the aerospace. We talk about YouTubers. I mean, we're on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel, Aero&Auto. Turn on notifications so you know when we're live. You can listen to it. Leave a comment if you want to. If you want us to talk about something, if you have any questions, I'll respond. If you have a good topic idea, maybe we'll talk about it next episode.
Thanks for hanging out with us. On our
So
first episode.
There's something else I wanted to say, but I don't know what it is now.
We will cover that next episode. What Justin has to say, and he always has something to say.
Yeah, my mouth is always running. I always got some stupid opinion, but that's okay. That wouldn't be fun if I weren't that way. So thank you all for joining us. We will see you next weekend. Love your mom, love your dad. Kiss your kids goodnight. Eat some good food. Have a good
Call
night.
your grandparents.
Yeah. What did they say on The Price is Right? Spay and neuter your dogs. Have a good evening.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
We'll see y'all later.
You stole my heart of gold after my silver soul. Can you dig in?